friends, it is now time for the Soulful Psalms segment of Beacon of Truth. The Soulful Psalms are where we take one of the Psalms from the Sefer Telachim, or the Book of Sung Praises, from the wisdom literature of the Old Testament, and we connect them to your everyday lived experience. We hear the Psalms in each and every holy sacrifice of the Mass, and the Soulful Psalms and the Beacon of Truth playlist are now their own podcasts. Just go to anywhere where you can hear podcasts, or just go to Podcast Central at EWTN.com to download and listen to the Soulful Psalms and the Beacon of Truth playlist. Well, today we're going to continue our look at Psalm 48. So Psalm 48 is in Book 2 of the Psalms, Psalms 42 to 72. Psalms 42 to 49 are from the sons of Korah. We talked about the sons of Korah a little bit yesterday. And so Psalms 42 to 49, and we're going to pick up on Psalm 48. The prescript or superscript of this psalm is very simple. It's the entire first verse. It says, Shir Mizmor Livni Korah. So a song, a psalm of the sons of Korah. All right. And so we're going to pick up here at the very end of the Psalms, the last few verses, verses 13 to 15 of Psalm 48. So the sons of Korah start off this psalm. Great is the Lord and highly to be praised in the city of our God. His holy mountain rises in beauty, the joy of all the earth. Right? And so that's the way they started off the psalm here in verse 2 and 3, starting off with praise and glory of the Lord, which we're doing now during this Easter season, every single day of the octave of Easter. Every day is like Easter. We relive the joyous resurrection, the empty tomb. He said his holy mountain rises in beauty. Of course, that's the mountain of the Lord in Jerusalem. It's the joy of all the earth. So that's the kind of the way he starts things off. In verse 13, he says, walk through Zion. Again, Zion is the name for Jerusalem, but more of the heavenly Jerusalem. Almost like the spiritual name of Jerusalem is called Zion. And it's very interesting, too, by the way. In some of these Psalms, you make connections with movies, right? So, for example, let me see, I do this off the top of my head here. Skipping, I think it's Psalm, I want to say Psalm 83. It's one of the ones that's one of the, it's Psalm 83. So this is one of the imprecatory Psalms, what they quote unquote cursing Psalms. This is one of the Psalms that's not said during the 4-week cycle in the Liturgy of the Hours. Okay. So, and we're going to go through this Psalm, at some point here, on the show, but it says, treat them like Midian, like Sisera, like Jabin at the river Kishon, those who were destroyed at Endor, whose bodies rotted on the ground. Destroyed at Endor. He's like, why does that name sound familiar? Well, Endor, you remember in the Return of the Jedi? The moon was called Endor, and that's where the Ewoks were, right? And that was a moon called Endor, and then that's where they had the battle. Where they disabled the beam that was surrounding the Death Star. We see that here in the Psalms. And here's another one too. Walk through Zion, walk all around her. Now Zion, that's from the Matrix, right? Remember the place where they found shelter and safety from the machines were in a place called Zion. Right, which again is the heavenly Jerusalem. Again, taking some of these things from the scriptures and these two examples from the Psalms and incorporating them into movie lore, if you will. All right, walk through Zion, walk all around her, count the number of her towers, consider all her ramparts, examine her castles. So it's talking about Zion being filled with the saving justice of God. And so we should feel comfortable in the house of the Lord, right? Walk through Zion, walk all around, count the number of her towers. So again, there was a wall that was surrounding Jerusalem, and there were gates in which you entered, and there were towers along there where you would watch out for the enemy. any potential invaders. But here it's about walking in comfort, walking in the security and the solace and the confidence of God's merciful love. So we should be able to walk in the city of the Lord and the house of the Lord without fear, because we're in the state of grace. We're in the right mindset. We're in the right heart set to be able to explore this place of God fully. And today on the show we're talking about beauty and reverence at Mass. And this is one of the things that draw us deeper into the mystery is the beauty. Some people want to talk about like a plain kind of, strip everything down, make everything plain. No, not for the worship of God. We should give God our best, right? That's why we use, we use beautifully appointed vestments, and the altars are large and beautiful, and we use gold for the chalices and the paten because they're holding something precious, and so all these things draw us deeper into the mystery. And here, the sons of Korah are talking about walking around the city of Zion with the confidence and the peace and the joy of reveling in God's love. Just absolutely love that image. And we should feel just as comfortable in our own churches, right? In our own places of worship. When we're walking around our churches, right, we have the Stations of the Cross, right? We have the stained glass windows, which tells the story of the faith. Because remember, back in the time of Christ in the early church, people couldn't read. And so the stained glass windows told the stories of our faith, so people can learn about the faith and visually see certain stories that they're hearing in the scriptures, and they see them visually in those stained glass windows, which were learning and teaching tools of the faith. So just like then they're walking around Zion, we have that same experience in our own churches as well.
Yeah, it was pretty beautiful for our family going to Mass during Holy Week and watching it through my kids' eyes. Like there's something about viewing their faith through the rituals that you've tried to teach them to appreciate, but when they actually do, and they appreciate not only the art and the structure of why, the church looks the way that it does, and the smells and all of the things, but then to walk out, full of the Spirit and know that they have worshiped and they have felt the presence of God, like all of those things, like that to me now, or at least recently anyway, watching my kids' faith as they've gone through their things in their life and how they've leaned into the peace of praying about things or figuring it out on their own and then telling us this is what I want to do. And then as a parent, being okay to let them make that choice, even if you feel like it might not be how you would want them to handle it, but they have to not be enabled, right? They have to be able to learn what it's like to lean into those things. And so to have that peace within the stained glass and the music and the incense and whatever it might be, but to know what it means to them, to me, is a whole nother level.
Yeah, and it's a wonderful thing when, again, looking at the beauty of the church and ceremonies, all that through the eyes of our kids, and then be able to explain to them. It's also a teaching tool for us, like, for example, on Holy Thursday, why are they washing feet? They usually don't do that at Mass. Or Good Friday, the statues are covered up and things like that. And, and they're reading the Passion narrative. And so this is great opportunity, catechetical opportunities for to be able to tell the kids, well, this is the Triduum. These 3 days are very special days in the life of the church, and here's what we're celebrating, and here's what the things that you're going to see, here's what they mean, and all of that. And I think it's just a wonderful way to engage the mind and the heart, the senses, right?
Yeah.
So they have memories of not just what those liturgies were like, but also memories of you explaining it to them. So it means more to them now, and because once they understand, they begin to own it.
Sure.
And it becomes their faith. Right. Not just, I'm just doing this because that's what we parents do and they just took me and I had to go. No. You see what God is doing for you in and through those liturgical services.
Yeah, when my kids get excited about church, I do everything I can to fan that flame. It's like just, go and then watching that ignite with their friends too, because hearing them choose to be at church versus going to a sleepover or going to the movies or going whatever it might be. It is and has become important to them. So I love watching them also influence their peers as they're also engaging in their relationship with the Lord.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Absolutely beautiful. Love that. At the end, it says that the last verse here, that you may tell the next generation that such is our God forever and always. He will guide us forever. So now you see what the sons of Korah are trying to get at here. This whole psalm is a beautiful explanation of the beauty of the temple, of our engaging in our faith. Why? That we may tell the next generation that such is our God. Again, as Ace was talking about, passing it on to our children for the next generations of worshipers, not just something that we cleave to ourselves, that we bring to our brothers and sisters in generations to come. Love it.
For more on the Psalms with Deacon Harold Burke-Sivers, check out Beacon of Truth weekdays at 4 p.m. Eastern on EWTN Radio and streaming everywhere you listen to podcasts.